Well, hello, tortured poets. Welcome to another episode of the Tortured Poets podcast with your hosts, Justine Soanes and Mallory Jardine. Mallory, how are you?
Well, about an hour ago, I was knocking on death's door.
Mm.
Um, and
Do we have sound effects?
yeah, and I was like, please, my head, it's pounding. Just take me now. But I decided that I really wanted to talk to you today. And so
Again,
I rallied, and here we are.
so that we could talk again today. Not just talk to me today, talk to me again
I,
today. Well, I have
person,
to,
I needed to
I,
see your face.
yes, again. I have to tell our listeners that this week I did not open up our podcast episode with cracking a beer because my beer is already cracked.
One
Don't
of
know if
those
they can hear that little ASMR there. AMSR? ASMR?
ASMR.
Assistant
Yep,
store manager is ASM. AM doesn't matter. Little soundy sounds for you.
ASMR. ASMR. Yep.
Anyway, and then Mallory, you were like, "Oh, do you have a ginger ale?" I'm like, "No, I do not have a ginger ale. I have a beer." And you thought you were a good influence on me, but lo and
Yeah, I
behold,
did. And
no.
this week I have my daughter's oxygen tank of water
Three,
because
which is a Stanley Cup.
I'm fighting migraine, so I just need to be drinking water. Yeah, I call it an oxygen tank because I saw the most hilarious TikTok at Christmas time. This was like what every 10-year-old girl had on her Christmas list.
Yeah.
And a mother on TikTok referred to it as an oxygen tank and was like holding him on
Mm,
her back and pretending to
right.
swim. And I was like,
Yeah.
you're right, it is. It's huge.
Well,
But
you're combating dehydration with water, and I'm combating the general languishing and ennui that is being a millennial with beer. And with that, what are we getting into today, Taylor?
well, the reason why I
Mallory, I
wanted
mean.
you, what did you call me?
I just said Taylor because I was all stuck on
You
my
called me Taylor?
because I was
I'm
going with
so honored.
instead of saying today, I was going to be all clever and be like today, and then I was like,
Fine.
that was too
It's fine.
much, and then
I
I just
accept
followed
it.
up with calling you Taylor anyway.
I accept it. It's good. We're good.
Slurpee
Um,
drink.
no, we're texting today, and as we do every day about Taylor, which is why we created this podcast. And so I just, wanted to talk to you person to person about it. So you're having an Eras Tour watch party on Friday.
Okay. Yes. And before we actually get into Friday, I think we have to talk about Thursday really
Okay.
quickly because the Eras film was announced on Disney Plus on Friday,
Mhm.
the 15th. However, then it was announced that it is coming out on the 14th at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. The film is 3 hours long. Mallory, what happens 3 hours after 9 o'clock Eastern? It is the midnight of a Friday morning. Do we think we are getting
My jaw
Reputation,
is dropped.
Taylor's version on Friday at midnight?
And the was it Are You Ready for It? Was that what played in the back of the little like promotional video that she put out?
Or
Was
was
it
it
when
look wasn't it Look What You Made Me
What
Do
You Made Me
Taylor's
Do? It was
version?
a rep song. Anyways, it was a rep song that played throughout the background of the promotional video.
Well, and there was a promotional video for something else recently that had Taylor's version. Where did I see it? I saw it Nora Princiotti, one of the hosts of the every single Taylor Swift album, whatever, by The Ringer. She
Mhm.
posted something that the NFL had put together. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yes, yes.
But I think
From
that
the
also
NFL.
had
Yeah.
Taylor's version in it.
And they bought the rights to the Reputation album. And so I wanted to look this up more to verify that it was true. And that's why I didn't text you about it because I wanted to make sure it was true before I jumped the gun like I have so many times in the past.
That's
Literally,
what we
there
do
were
best.
times where I text you something and then like literally 16.
JK was a hoax.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, wait, sorry. Just read the comments. This isn't real.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Time out really quick as a thing in there. Don't forget what you were going to say. What is it with Gen Z and making up fake things on TikTok as a trend? I don't get it. Why are you lying for clout, for views?
and see, I don't realize that because I'm so gullible. I think everything is true. So I don't even
Okay. No,
realize
it's
that
like
the
it's like
line
a
is
thing
happening.
where like anyway, okay, I'm not gonna go too far down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole. I probably already distracted you from your thought. Continue.
Honestly, you did. I'm trying
Uh
so hard to go back. Oh, the TikTok video
yes.
of so I saw a TikTok video and it showed a clip of Tom Brady talking in this NFL type of like docu series thing that's coming out, and it was playing, I think it was playing Look What You Made Me Do in the background. And then one of the comments said that the NFL, whoever or whatever was making this docu-series, bought the rights to or not bought the rights, because obviously Taylor's not doing that anytime soon.
Mhm.
um, but bought permission or whatever to
Like the
use
licensing or whatever.
the licensing. Yes, that would be the word
Doesn't
for
her
it.
brother Austin handle licensing?
I
Doesn't
don't know.
matter.
But anyways, so officially the song Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor's version, was playing in the background of that promotional video.
I think that's the one with Nora Princiati at the beginning of it.
So this is how she always starts, as she will use one of her like Love Story played in a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Uh her 1989 songs played in,
We
or
got
Back to
Wildest
December.
Dreams and
Back to December was all
yep.
the summer I turned pretty.
Yep.
She released her songs for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's another TV show too, though, that had, I think it was I Did Something Bad, maybe. It's a TV show. I don't know what streaming service it's on, but it's about a wife who finds out her husband has a mistress.
Mm. Now there's a
With,
few of those out there.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
this one had Taylor's song in the trailer of it too. So I think that was a Taylor's version too.
Yeah. So all of that to say, we've been getting like these sneak peeks of Reputation Taylor's version. It was given like a heavy shout out in the Time Person of the Year article when she talked about how like the Reputation tracks, vault tracks are fire. So
Oh,
that's
I cannot wait. The more I think because I was so caught up in 1989, like I needed 1989, like
yeah.
I need the blood in my veins. So
Yeah.
I
You
was
needed
so
1989 more than we needed 1987, which
yeah,
is the year we were born.
exactly. Somehow 1989 has been more important than the year I was actually brought to life.
Yeah.
1989, the album really brought me to life. I wasn't born in 1987. I was born in 1989, Taylor's version.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were born in 1989 and 2016 or 14.
14, yes. Anyways, so now that that's out and I've heard the vault tracks and I'm not over it, but I've gone through all that and all the emotions, I am now thinking about rep, and I'm just thinking about how I really can't wait to hear those vault tracks. Like we were talking today about Bad Blood and how it's such an
A
underrated
rep,
song.
yeah.
It's yeah, it gets such a bad rap. People don't give it the respect it deserves. I think it's because Bad Blood is a Reputation sound. I feel
Hmm.
like Bad Blood should have been on the Reputation album. I feel like I don't know at what point she wrote that song, but I
Hmm.
feel like maybe it was at the point where she was ending her she was wrapping up 1989,
Hmm.
and maybe Bad Blood was towards the end, which was growing into a more of a Reputation type of style for her.
Hmm.
Anyways, I felt like Bad Blood was really different from everything else in 1989, and that's why people did not like it as much, because it just didn't fit the vibe of the album. I
Yeah.
feel like if you had put Bad Blood on the Reputation album, people would have like went nuts over it. It is
Hmm.
fire. It is like, and the Kendrick Lamar version of it is just, I love that. Like I
Hmm.
put that on in my car and I turn it up full volume all the time. And
Hmm.
so when I listen to that, I actually think more about Reputation. And then
Hmm.
I start, yeah, oh, I can't wait to like just hear the re-records of like I Did Something Bad. That
It,
song
yeah.
got me through therapy. that,
What's that?
that song got me through my therapy, through inner child therapy.
Yep.
So funny story about that song. So inner child therapy, side note, love it. The best things ever happened to me if you haven't heard about what inner child therapy is, go check it out. It's amazing.
Best thing to happen to you other than 1989 Taylor's version. Continue.
Yes. 1989 Taylor's version was like coming a full circle of my inner child healing.
Yeah,
It was,
full circle moment.
yeah. So anyhow, I had done inner child therapy, and part of what I learned in therapy is that I harbor a very scared, um, quiet, um, I almost said the word obasive, which is not a word, and I don't know. Guys, bear with me. Migraine.
Obasive,
Migraine.
though?
Like, I can't think of the word. It's not coming to me. Like, oh, like I obey. Like I'm good.
Obasive? Obedient?
Obedient.
You're obasive.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's the best. Obasive. I'm
You're such
saying
a good obasive girl.
I'm very obasive.
Trust and obase. For there's no other way.
Oh, okay. Okay. Migraine. That's my brain's not operating at full function right now, okay? It's just not.
Right
Anyways.
now was not a necessary part of that sentence.
Oh. Oh, he. Okay.
JK,
Anyhow,
I'm 2 fat tugs in, ready to 40, so let's do it.
I was very obasive, aka obedient,
As a child.
and going back. I can't believe that I am going back on track with the topic, and I didn't get so swayed that I didn't forget what I was talking about.
It's
Okay.
like exposure therapy talking to me.
Anyhow, so in my inner child therapy, I learned that I have a very scared, obedient little girl inside. So I don't handle conflict well. I don't deal with people of authority talking down on me. I turn into a little girl and get very emotional. And so my therapy, we were working through me claiming myself as an adult and reparenting that inner child to know that adult Mallory is very capable of taking care of little Mallory. And so when I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm in that fight or flight, that I go back to that state of being scared that I'm going to get in trouble if I do the wrong thing, that adult Mallory can take over, and that little girl doesn't need to be afraid because I'm an adult. I can take it on. Anyhow, I had that mind-blowing therapy session, one of those ones that you just leave and you're like, okay, I've stepped into a new era of my life. We've gone to therapy, we've addressed some things, and now I feel like I am in a whole new outlook of my life. And so I went to the gym right after just to kind of burn off some of that energy. And the song I Did Something Bad came on, and I'm running on the treadmill listening to it. And all I'm envisioning in my head is all the little like variations of me through my life who have been like felt silenced or not as good as, or felt like they had to be less. And I'm like listening to this song, I Did Something Bad, and like trying not to cry at Planet Fitness on the treadmill while I'm running downward. But anyways, all that to say, I can't wait to hear the re-record of that song. It's going to send flames through my veins.
Yes. So my relationship with Reputation was really forged in like 2019, 2020, I would say. Heading into 2020, probably. It was like my pandemic album because I don't know whether or not many people know this, but Taylor Swift and I had a little bit of a divergent of paths walking hand in hand for a while, not for a big reason. After Red, Safe and Sound came out from the Hunger Games.
Yes.
And I wanted more of that. I wanted Safe and Sound. I wanted acoustic. I wanted haunted. I wanted folklore. Basically,
the reason why I'm looking like this is because I have a secret too, because I had a little divergent stage with Taylor also, but it was after Red.
oh,
Because
funny.
yes.
So
Because
Red was my boo. It was after calling off the engagement of my early 20s, then my Speak Now era. Then Red came out, and I remember when All Too Well came out, and it's like the photo albums on the counter, like your cheeks are turning red. You used to be a little kid with glasses in a twin size bed. And that took me back to like, I remember the first time visiting my ex being at his parents' house and literally going through photo albums because like I loved scrapbooking. His mom liked scrapbooking. So it was like this thing. And so Red,
You needed Red to heal
yes,
you.
Red was an album about chaotic, fully expressed heartbreak.
Yeah.
And I
We
needed
were
that.
going through it when Red came
So
out.
Red was like my jam.
Mhm.
And then when 1989 came out, I was so like disappointed in the songwriting
Yeah.
because by the
I
time I got to like, I remember getting to Out of the Woods and not understanding that the point of
Mhm.
it was anxiety and mimicking that. And so I remember
Mhm.
specifically being like, you said Out of the Woods like 17 times. Did you run out of words, Taylor? Like, what is going on? What
While
happened to
being
your
stuck in the
storytelling?
woods? Did you
Yeah. Are we just
run out
there
of
now?
words?
We're just
For
skipping?
the
Is the CD scratched? And so that really sent me, I was just like, well, you're not telling stories and stuff the way that I like anymore. And so I kind of like took a bit of a backseat. I still liked her, but I didn't like listen
Interesting.
obsessively. And
Mhm.
then when Lover came out, I was driving to a friend's wedding in Whistler
Mhm.
and I put the Lover album on for the drive and I listened to it on repeat. And motherfucker, did that album get in my head. Like the
So
Death by a
funny.
Thousand Cuts, like the chimes and stuff, the like at first I was like, this is chaos. But then as I listened, I'm like, wow, there's like the diddle. So anyway, that got under my skin. And then
Demon Lover was not an album that I enjoyed right away.
it was only
It
because I,
took me, I
yeah,
had to, you know what? 1989 was so big for me and it was so embedded in me that it honestly wasn't until you and I really started reconnecting again and talking about Taylor Swift because I hadn't even listened to her Folklore and Evermore albums until you had brought them up. Because long story short, I became a Harry Styles fan in the meantime.
that's true.
That's kind of what brought me back. I mean, I've always been a Taylor fan. I had
Totally.
like I just after 1989, Reputation,
Mm-hmm.
Lover, they weren't hitting it for me the way 1989 did. And
Yeah.
so I just kind of was like, huh, okay, I'll just enjoy the Taylor that I knew from the beginning up until 1989 and I'll enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started listening to Harry Styles and then I started noticing because I know my girl, I was picking her out in his lyrics. And
Mm-hmm.
that got my brain going like, wait a minute, there's a dialogue happening here. And
Yes.
that's when I started talking to you. We started getting all into it.
And then I became a Harry Styles fan.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, I cut
But
you off.
no,
We
that's okay. That's
we
how
have
we roll.
ADHD, both of us, and
It's
we
what we do, it's who we be, we
control
ADHD.
each
So,
other.
okay, so Lover. Lover got under my skin. I became obsessed with it. And then I went back and listened to like Reputation, 1999, etc. But Reputation, on that note of like that I did something bad, that like expressing that feeling, whatever. I think that Reputation was the album that really connected me to my feelings again. And at that time, I was going through a lot of postpartum healing and like sorting through a lot of feelings. And by postpartum healing, I mean like my kids were born in 2015 and 2017, right? And I'm talking about, I had to mentally do the math there. I'm like, are those the right dates as I say them out loud?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I think. So a lot of that was about connecting with my feelings and what they were saying and finding ways to express them in healthy manners. And again, like being raised as a good girl who
Mhm.
keeps quiet, who stays small, who doesn't make a
Yes.
fuss, who doesn't upset other people,
Yep.
who also has very big feelings. It was so hard for me to connect with those things. And so when, because like 1989 is one of the like pop masterpieces of our time. It is a perfect pop album. Like
Yes.
it is nearly flawless.
Yeah.
And but it was very like
It wasn't
not
deep.
controlled and calculated in a bad way, but it was like the criticism of Red Taylor heard that. She heard it was not sonically cohesive. She heard like all the reasons that Red didn't win the Grammy. And so she worked her ass off to make sure that 1989 was not those things. So we had an incredible, polished, cohesive album,
Yeah.
right? Then follow that with Reputation when she's coming off the heels of one of her biggest betrayals to date.
Mhm.
and her feelings were so unhinged, and
Mhm.
she put it all into song. And
Yeah.
that album, again, when the pandemic hit and we were just stuck sitting inside with our feelings, I would go to the car and scream sing. I would sing
Yeah.
until I was crying. I would rage. And it wasn't that I was raging because a celebrity couple doctored a phone call and told everyone that I lied. I wasn't raging because of that, even though that's what she was
No.
raging about in the song. I was
Yeah.
raging for all those other reasons, but
Yeah.
it gave me that outlet. And so all of
Mhm.
that to come back to, again, reputation, Taylor's version meaning so much.
Yeah.
Like that album is like, I am a reputation girly. Like
I also feel like it elevated her to a new level of, like, how do I put this? Like, she awakened her sexuality.
oh
Like,
yeah.
she
Oh,
owned.
she is drinking.
Yeah, but, like, even just, like, she's going to harness her feminine power.
She became a woman in
Yes, like,
reputation.
but not like, I feel like there's feminism in two senses, where, like, there's the old feminism, where you stayed away from owning that girly nature, from owning your
Like,
sexuality
yeah,
and
like
your.
the first wave feminism said we can be men.
Yes. Second wave.
Simplification, oversimplification for anyone who is actually like a feminist academic. I totally understand. I'm
Oh,
making
yes.
this way simpler. Complete
No.
oversimplification. It
Yes.
was we want like what they have, or like
Yeah.
we can do everything that they can, or we can do it
We're
all.
not soft and fragile. We're the opposite. Like, we're not just
Yeah.
sex symbols.
It
We're
went from
not
like
just.
we can do what the men can do, or like want what the men have, to we can do it all was the next wave, to then we can just be ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And we can also harness our
Feminine power.
migraine. Thank you. Migraine, though. So words are not coming easily to this brain. I was like, Justine, she's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I still want to do this. I still need to do a podcast. It's
Like
not
shit, but
100%,
committed.
but I need to do it. No, I think just owning, being like a sex symbol, like using that as a power. Why not?
Mhm.
Right? Like, she
I think power
saw
is
the
really the
black
word.
and what's that?
I think power is really the word. When I think of
Power.
reputation, I think of power. Like 1989 was like fame,
But, like,
and
when
I
you watch the Reputation tour
yeah,
and you watch her opening song and you see the way she dances and moves her body and, like, licks her lips, and just, like, she is full of herself and she is owning it,
and I am
and
here
she
for
is
it.
hypnotizing people with it, and she's okay with that.
She has stepped into her power.
Power. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. And yeah, so and then yeah. And I think all of that is also like reflected in the fact that like Reputation was her last album with Big Machine. Like there was so much going on behind the scenes that
Mhm.
went into that. That again, I think that we're just gonna see a lot more from Reputation that I'm so excited about. Um, so yeah, what I'm hoping for, I'm not gonna say it's like an official prediction, but I'm hoping that we get Reputation on Friday. And then a month later, we get Tortured Poets.
Mhm.
And then after Tortured Poets has its own era, because new releases need bigger eras,
Mhm.
then I hope that we get Debut.
Mhm.
Okay. And I already text you all of this, so you know it.
Well, this
Um,
is why we needed to have a podcast,
but this
because
is why because
everyone needs to know it.
yes. So okay, so then Tortured Poets,
Share your wealth of knowledge.
I think that when the Eras tour resumes, so she's releasing the whole Eras tour on Disney Plus, so everyone's going to get to see what has already happened.
Yeah.
So I think she brings a fresh set list when she
Yes.
resumes her tour in Europe. I think
Yep.
it includes Tortured Poets. I think that it decreases some of the other eras, and I think we see more Debut. And then I think that we get Debut before the Eras tour ends. And what I really want, and this is pie in the sky reaching, I know it, I am clowning harder than any Swiftie has ever
I
clowned.
feel like I'm on this. I feel like I can predict what you're gonna say, but I maybe
So,
not.
okay, but what I want, because she's been referencing a lot of full circle moments on
Uh-huh.
social media and stuff like that, and in captions. And so I want, instead of Midnights as the last album for the show, I want the last album for the show to be debut, and I want the show to finish with that epic rainfall, like rain waterfall arch from her original
Yes.
years, where like the rain's falling and it's like saying no in the words.
I literally was just watching this before I called you. I was watching the original performance of Her with Shoulda Said No, and they pull off like
If
the
you have
hurricane.
not, listener, my dear tortured listener, if you have not watched that yet, you need to, because again, to understand the amount of like, again, like power or like the ability of this woman, even at that age, to command a stage
It's
is
funny though, because
incredible.
when I was watching it thinking, like, after now seeing her on this Eras tour and seeing where she is today, watching her then, and I remember at the time thinking, "She's so confident and, like, such a great performer," and you watch it now and you're like, "She's actually a very transparent young woman." Like,
All
you
she
can
was
hear
doing
the
was
quiver,
trying.
you can hear the quiver in her voice,
Yes.
but the theatrics and the drama are still there. They're still there.
Yes.
She's not as confidently bringing the drama like she does now because she owns it now and no one's going to make her feel
Well, she has
bad
so
about
much
that.
experience.
Right.
Like,
But if we could see her mimic that in the Eras tour, as like she went from like at the start, this young girl who had big visions for herself but wasn't quite confident enough to portray that in the start. It was there, you could see it, you saw the potential. And for her to, if she could redo that now, like, oh, it would be incredible. The rain with the no and the
and I just like, I love the idea of a world that women can continue to be this successful and prolific and powerful into their 30s. How messed up is it that that's like, there's normally an expiration
ah,
date
but
on
really,
like, yeah, because it's like Hollywood as a general construct. I know that like music
yeah.
and Hollywood aren't necessarily the same thing, but like celebrity
Mhm.
values feminine youth to a point that like female pop stars and celebrity, they're often very young and
Mhm.
very easy to manipulate. And
But
it's
you know what?
when they become strong and powerful that
Well,
they
yeah,
start to
then they,
lose their,
yes,
and
the
I would,
start,
yeah.
yes.
And I'd love
Um,
a world full of Taylors and Beyoncés.
However, it takes me back to my favorite Super Bowl halftime show of all time, Shakira and J-Lo. Did you watch the Shakira and J-Lo halftime show?
Oh, I remember that halftime show.
Oh, that just, and so many people were in uproar because they were like, that was during daytime television. No, it wasn't. It was 8 o'clock at night. Like, anything goes after 8 on TV. Maybe not everything, but anyways, there was such an uproar and people had big opinions about these women who were dancing around the stage in little clothing on a pole and whatever. And my daughter Harlow is so passionate about dance and performing, and she's a dancer. And I sat there and watched that with her, and I said, look how strong those women are.
Hmm.
Like, look how confident they are. And like, they're both Latina women. That is their culture, to
Hmm.
shake their bodies, to celebrate themselves and to celebrate their music. And
Just
they
because,
feel their music and
yeah,
their
like
body
dance,
moves to it.
things like dance and like physical embodiment are not part of like Western white. I put white in capital, or not capitals, in quotation marks, because I'm
Yes.
referring to like the construct of whiteness.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, when you get to like the Protestantism, they're like, whatever, like it's so rigid and restricted, and the level of judgment towards anyone who uh not behaves, but like whatever, does anything differently outside of what you consider to be that like perfect order, it
Absolutely.
comes with so much judgment,
Yeah.
and I am just not here for that.
No. And it's so funny because going back to my therapy, because I love my
We
therapist,
love therapy here.
love it. Promote it all the way.
You can get your iHeart Therapy bracelets at vigilantegifts.com.
Speaking of our sponsor, Vigilante Gifts, I love that. I need to get one of those and wear it all on my arm.
I know a person. I can send you one.
Yes. Anyhow, I
Therapy.
lost my. I was doing so good.
I know. I'm sorry. Therapy.
That's okay.
Judgment. Yes,
Judgment.
I was gonna say
Oh, I
dancing.
put that up fast. Yeah, we had to retrace our steps there. Yeah, my therapist had said about judgment is people who judge put themselves in a cage because everything that you judge another person for doing, you then have to live your life being very careful that you never do that thing. So, and that just gave me a whole new outlook on judgment too, and how, yeah, people who judge are only hurting themselves because they're only limiting their own experience in life.
Well, and I think that judgment's an interesting thing because I don't know that most people really understand what it means. They just associate being judgmental with being bad. They'll be like, I'm not judgmental, but it's like, okay, but let's unpack what you just were positing there. So like you're saying that two women in their 50s showing skin and dancing means that fill in the blanks for me. Is it that they have low moral standards, that they're setting a bad example, that makes them, as soon as you have decided that a thing that a person does makes them a certain way or means a certain thing about them, you have judged. And yeah.
And heaven forbid you ever get to the point in your life that you're confident enough to want to try and take a belly dancing class or want to try and wear the crop top. Now, all of a sudden, you have to remember that you felt very publicly a certain way about people who'd done that before. And so you've boxed yourself in.
Or even like when the thought crosses your own mind that it's something that you want to do, then you will internally judge yourself, make yourself bad for it. And that goes into this whole other spiral that like we're not going to completely unpack now. If anyone's interested, just to plug my own little podcast, if you check out the Friday Feels podcast, I have a whole series on like stress and shame and feelings and how that impacts your well-being. But when you judge yourself and decide that something that you have done is bad because someone else has done it, like that they're bad, you create a whole stress response inside yourself. And that is just a recipe for anxiety because it's an unresolved stress cycle. And like, anyway, whole other rabbit hole. But I think that
I love that we can go from talking about reputation being released to the impacts of judgment with 10 minutes.
But the thing is, it's funny though, because, and this is actually something that I really like kind of appreciate about the way that Taylor pushes boundaries and like pushes the envelope in terms of like the things that she wears, even if it's like crop top and a mini skirt or it's a bodysuit or whatever. She has, not to my knowledge, ever been accused of being slutty, all in air quotes, like for how she dresses.
Yeah.
She has gotten so much flack for a completely normal, healthy dating history, but people generally don't shame the way that she dresses, but she's not showing that much like different skin than other outfits. They're cut differently, but all it like where I'm getting at with that is like they are the things that she does, they're kind of like put forward in a way that it makes people kind of uncomfortable, but also open to it.
Yeah. I was going to say though, she is getting highly scrutinized for her new Midnight's bodysuit.
Oh, the scalloped one?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I know.
I mean,
I don't.
I didn't come across this, but
yeah, neither here nor there. But yeah, people
but again,
will find something to be upset about.
100%. But I think that yeah, Reputation was an example of an album where she really came out fully empowered.
And energetic.
Yeah, fully her, like putting her, whatever. I'm so excited for it. And the reason we started talking about that was because the Eras movie is coming out on Friday, and I'm doing a charcutayrie
Go back
party.
to the very beginning of this
To the
whole
beginning, we're going to come full circle moment here, if you will. And before we wrap up, let's just share some of our favorite charcutayrie ideas.
Yes.
Okay, because this is my menu planning. If you have anything else to add to this, please do let us know over on
Our
Instagram.
favorite Eras Tour themed snacks.
Yes.
This is our gift to you, is take these, do with them what you will. But if you're having an Eras Tour watching party, here are some tasty
Hey,
treats.
see, for your charcutayrie Taylor's version. Okay, I'm really excited to do Gouda car.
Okay, and I thought it'd be really fun to have some holy ground beef tacos.
To go with the tacos, I would like to make, now that we don't guac, to go with tortilla chips on my guitar.
And maybe for dessert, we can have some donuts with some lavender glaze.
Maybe we can chase it with a drink of my husband's wine, or maybe drinking beer out of plastic cups.
Yeah. Or your roommate's cheap ass screw
Screwed
top
up
rose.
rosé.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What other ones are in here?
We could do some we are never getting back to cheddar.
In your invisible cheese string. Or your
Invisible cheese string.
cheese.
How about I bet you think about brie?
Yes. That's a good one. Death by 1,000 cuts of meat.
Meet me at midnight. Queso it goes.
Oh, yes, I love a good queso. Yeah, there's quite a few.
I am just like, I will be making food puns for the rest of the week.
I'm like going through this conversation that we had on my phone of like
Yeah.
different snack ideas. And it's quite hilarious how we jump from like making Taylor Swift food puns to how debut is Folklore and Evermore's Forgotten Baby Sister.
Oh yeah, my theory.
There's another pun, and then there's a I hope that I Lie is on the debut vault tracks. Like we just kind of, it's funny. We bounce all over the place in our conversations, all over the
Yes.
place.
So the two things that I recall from that are, okay, number one, I believe that I said that the world is not ready to hear Mary's song, Taylor's version, to hear her singing, I'll be 87, you'll be 89. Not ready for that. The world is not ready. The other thing that I said was that, yeah, that like Folklore and Evermore are obviously sisters, they're twinsies, but I feel like from a writing perspective, debut is their forgotten little sister. It's like Folklore and Evermore are Mary Kate and Ashley.
I was
And
gonna say, and then
debut
you
is Elizabeth.
referenced them to the Olsen girls.
I did. I stand by it.
Yes.
I stand by it. All talented in their own right. And
I said Elizabeth is the best Olsen. Sorry, not sorry.
not wrong.
I'm an Avengers girl. What can I say?
I mean, and yeah, the other ones, they kind of had the whole childhood star trauma and fucked up adulthood, and we're really sorry. Thank you so much for giving us so much entertainment, Mary Kate and Ashley. We love you. You shaped our childhood. I still can't get my hair to do like New York Minute.
Oh, like a New York Minute. Yes. The amount of times I brought their pictures to my hairdresser and would be like, I want this haircut.
Why can't
And
you
did
just
not realize?
curl it in and then out?
Yeah, I didn't realize that my hairdresser couldn't just cut my hair and suddenly it would look like a blowout. Like,
I know. That's so weird that we didn't just have stylists following us around. Like the concept of glam wasn't understood when we were younger, so we thought a haircut would fix it. That's what the magazines told us.
I ended up with a near mushroom cut when I was 13 years old because of Christina Aguilera's debut album haircut, and her hairstyle on the front literally took that to,
Yep.
I'm not going to say who it was,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a hairdresser that went to our church.
Someone I know. Was I related to
No, it wasn't someone you were related to. It was not someone you related to.
Good.
Yes. Anyways, it wasn't her fault. She
No.
cut my hair, but I did not know how to style it. So I ended up having literally like right under my ears. Do you
Mhm.
remember? It was chopped.
I mean, I don't remember it being like bad.
Oh, it was bad. I
I
had
just,
to learn to take the two little wispy pieces in the front, like such,
yep,
and then I would take the silver clips
yep,
and I would clip here.
yep. Hold on. I
And
got to get my middle part first to do
see
my
if I
little,
can recreate this look. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
yep. Ready, people?
My
We are
eyebrows
looking at
were.
grade 9, Mallory
I'm
and Justine.
I'm giving myself the Mallory 13-year-old Mallory.
Well, actually, mine would have been pulled back,
Butcher cut.
gel, really tight like that, and then all messy in the back.
Oh, Justine, I think I have it.
I love this for
Did I
us.
tell you?
I think we look great.
I gotta really grease up these little wispies in the front.
Yeah, they're supposed to have gel. Dep gel. Nothing else will do.
Dippity doo.
Dippity doo dah. Okay.
All right,
We
that's
have now
good.
divulged into
Mhm.
2000,
Early
2001
hairstyles.
hairstyles. So we're gonna wrap this up here. Um
I'm way off course here.
we got way was there even a
We've
course?
gone way off course hair. Sorry.
Okay, well, with that, we will sign off with our oxygen tank and fat tug. Cheers. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to our unhinged thoughts. This is Mallory and Justine for the Tortured Poets podcast.
Episode
Episode 3. We'll see you next
can't
time.
believe we made it this far.
I
I'm
can't
very
believe
proud of us.
we made it to 3. I hope we make it to 4. I'm proud
Yes.
of us.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye, everyone.